So back on February 28th, a war ignited in the Middle East that completely reshaped the global landscape. Now, as of April 8th, we're looking at a very fragile ceasefire. Today, we're going to break down this absolutely devastating conflict and ask one crucial question.
Right, let's start here, because this quote really hits the nail on the head. After 6 weeks of just unbelievably intense fighting and staggering destruction, there was no clear winner. And that's the central paradox we're going to dig into.
So where are we now? Well, as of today, April 11th, the direct fighting has stopped. But make no mistake, this ceasefire is on shaky ground, and the geopolitical map of the entire region, it's been completely redrawn. Nothing is the same as it was before this all kicked off.
So that's the big question, right? Who actually won this thing? And to figure that out, we have to look at both sides of the coin. You have to weigh the massive military gains against the absolutely crippling strategic and economic costs for everyone involved.
You know, this war didn't just start, it exploded. It was a massive, coordinated, preemptive strike by the US and Israel, which was met almost instantly with this ferocious, widespread Iranian retaliation that just sucked the entire region into the fire.
And things escalated, incredibly fast. At hour zero, Operation Epic Fury kicks off. Just 2 hours later, the supreme leader, Khamenei, is killed. By the 12-hour mark, Iran's counterattack is already in full swing. And in less than a day, Iran had grabbed control of a vital global artery, the Strait of Hormuz.
Iran's response was, wow. It was immediate and it was fierce. We're talking hundreds of ballistic missiles and thousands of drones just hammering targets, not just in Israel, but all across the Gulf. They overwhelmed defenses and caused some serious damage and casualties.
That opening salvo, it was a huge signal of their intent. That first major wave included a volley of 90 missiles. It was Iran showing they had a serious capability to strike back, even after that initial attack on their own infrastructure.
But, over those 6 weeks of fighting, the sheer pressure of the US-Israeli air campaign really started to show. Those subsequent waves got smaller and smaller, sometimes down to as few as 25 missiles. It was a clear sign that Iran's ability to keep up the fight was being systematically worn down. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Iran's most dramatic move was shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. And this wasn't just a military move, it was pure economic warfare. By controlling this tiny choke point where a fifth of the world's entire oil supply flows, Iran basically held the global economy hostage.
And the effect? It was instant. Oil prices just shot through the roof, going from about $75 a barrel to way over $100. That sparked a global fuel crisis, and the economic pain was felt far beyond the Middle East.
So, when Iran squeezed the world's oil supply, you had to know a massive response was coming. And it did, a relentless, 6-week-long air campaign. The sheer scale of this attritional war meant Iran's military and its industry paid a devastating price.
The numbers here are just staggering. Over the course of the war, more than 13,000 individual targets were struck inside Iran. This wasn't random, it was a systematic effort to completely dismantle the country's ability to wage war.
And just look at the breakdown of what was hit. According to US claims, they absolutely gutted Iran's military capabilities. 85% of its defense industry, gone. 97% of its naval mines, neutralized. Most of its ballistic missiles, destroyed. All of its submarines, sunk. And about 150 warships, taken out. The goal here was clearly to cripple Iran's ability to fight back.
And this is a really crucial point. The strikes didn't just stop at conventional military targets. Key nuclear-related sites like Natanz and Arak were hit again and again with massive bunker-busting bombs. This was a clear attempt not just to damage, but to actually reverse Iran's nuclear progress.
So, by early April, the Iranian regime was completely backed into a corner. Its military was in tatters, its economy was crippled, and the pressure, both internally and externally, was just immense. All of this set the stage for a really dramatic diplomatic endgame.
And it all came to a head with this bone-chilling ultimatum from the United States, a direct threat to completely demolish Iran's core infrastructure. We're talking power plants, bridges, the works. This was the final push that forced a resolution and brought both sides to the table.
And out of that pressure, this is the deal we got. A 2-week pause in the fighting. Iran had to promise to reopen the strait. The US and Israel agreed to halt their strikes. And finally, high-stakes negotiations kicked off in Pakistan, led by the US Vice President, to see if this truce could turn into something, well, more permanent.
But, and this is a huge but, the deal started to fray almost from the get-go. See, Iran demanded a comprehensive ceasefire that included its ally Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel's response? To basically say, nope, the ceasefire doesn't apply there, and then to actually intensify its strikes. A huge, huge point of friction right away.
Which, of course, brings us right back to where we started. With all this destruction, and with a peace deal that's already showing massive cracks, who actually came out on top? Let's take a hard look at the new reality this war has created.
This scorecard really says it all. For the US and Israel, sure, there were clear military gains. They hammered Iran's forces and set back their nuclear program. But strategically, they completely failed to get regime change. And for Iran, they survived, and they proved they could inflict serious global economic pain. This also created a rally around the flag effect that let hardliners tighten their grip on power, branding any dissent as treason, even as their country's military and infrastructure lay in ruins. Like we said, no clean wins here.
And the fallout from all this? It's huge, and it's going to ripple out for years. Iran's network of regional allies, that axis of resistance, it's been damaged, for sure, but it's not broken. Global supply chains have been shown to be incredibly vulnerable. And, critically, Iran's enriched uranium stockpiles, they weren't totally eliminated. The region is now more unstable, not less.
So we end right back where we began, with a whole lot of uncertainty. Those high-stakes talks happening right now in Pakistan are going to determine everything. Is this ceasefire the beginning of a genuine de-escalation? Or is it just a pause, a chance for everyone to rearm before the next, even more devastating round? Honestly, only time will tell.